Colon cancer, like you said, is one of the most preventable, treatable cancers when it's found early. The problem people don't understand is that it's a slow growing cancer. So a lot of people don't have symptoms and could have it. And so that's why those colonoscopies are so important.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. And I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the question. So let's get on with the show.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Empowering Family Health podcast. Today, I am so super excited to bring on a wonderful lady. She is so inspirational and she is up to amazing things in this world, helping people to leave their legacy. She's going to tell us all about how she went through her adversities in her life and how she has turned that around to do good in the world. So Rachelle, you're very welcome to the podcast. Say hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Great. Before we dive in, Rachelle, I'm going to read out your incredible bio before we get going. So Rachelle Babler is a TEDx speaker. She's a #1 international best-selling co-author, an advocate and singer-songwriter, and she grew up in Southern California. She has an electric background of careers. God, I can't even pronounce that word. It's a multiple background of careers. That's what it means, I think. Paramedic turned forensic analyst turned entrepreneur. Oh my God, it's such a diversity in roles there. After being diagnosed with a rare brain tumor and diving into personal development work, she quit her job cold turkey to pursue her why and discovered that what was during a global pandemic. So she is a storyteller, a storytelling strategist who supports clients to amplify their voice, their message and brand through various media platforms such as TEDx Stage and through music, creating human impact movements and advocating for causes near and dear to her clients' hearts is what she loves most. She is grateful she took a leap to create a purpose-driven business and to show her 2 children, Austin and Cameron, that it's never too late to pursue your dreams. So, Rachelle, what an incredible bio. You're very welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
So, Rachelle, you have been through so much in your lifetime so far, and you're up to amazing things. We're gonna talk about, your life before and your life now and what you're doing as a result of that, because you're doing incredible work in the world today, and I am just awed by what you're doing, and you've even brought it to the TEDx stage as well. So Rachelle, bring us back to the beginning and tell us who you are and a little bit of background to give us an idea of why you're doing what you're doing.
Cool. Well, I do have an eclectic background. It's an interesting one because I've done some
I remember that.
So I grew up in San Diego. My father was in the Navy and he was stationed here. And luckily we didn't have to move around. We stayed in San Diego. And after high school, I always was drawn to the medical arena, doing something with medicine. And I became an EMT, and then I went through paramedic school, became a paramedic, and I did that for 6 years. And at 6 years, the contract was going up for negotiations in San Diego, and many of us weren't going to get picked up by the new contract. So a lot of us went back to school. So most people were going back for like nursing or PA or physician, and I decided to take a different route. I took a forensics course. I got hooked. And
wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is a big difference. And I loved it, and I shifted careers. So I started working at a local law enforcement agency in San Diego. I worked there for about 2.5 years, and then I got picked up with a major agency a law enforcement agency in San Diego, and I worked with them for almost 18 years. So I did a lot of research. I taught all over the country. I created a course that I taught all over the country. I analyzed fingerprints from crime scenes, and I had to testify a lot in court, and it was a great career. But in 2017, my intuition was speaking very loudly to me and telling me I had more work to do in this lifetime. And that's when I was flying back from a forensic board meeting from the East Coast back to San Diego. And on that flight, I decided I was going to quit. And I had no idea what I was going to do. It was just something in me that I knew, and I felt in my whole body that it was the right thing to do. And I went back, gave my 2 weeks notice, and I quit. And I jumped into a co-working space around a bunch of entrepreneurs and was around like-minded people, and that began my entrepreneurial journey. And it's been super fun since then. And because I was a speaker in forensics, I loved to speak. I started supporting speakers, whether they wanted to connect to get on to events or conferences to speak. And then I met someone who worked around the TEDx arena, and I started working for a company he worked with that we supported clients, helping them get clear for their idea we're spreading for the TEDx stage. And then over the last few years, I've developed a program called Advocating Through Music, which was kind of sadly inspired by my sister who passed away in 2018 from colon cancer. And that really kind of led me to my why and what I'm meant to do in this world, with helping others really amplify their voice and their stories to share with others so that they can help create like the biggest impact and inspire others and help others heal too, and create collective change. So it's been an interesting journey, but a big catalyst to me quitting my job was my own brain tumor diagnosis in 2008. And that's when my personal development journey started. And that's when I started to meditate and do things I never had done before. And it opened up this whole new world to me. I'm like, all this stuff that I never even looked at in my entire life really changed my life. And meditating every day just really gets you to listen to your intuition and that inner voice of yours that we tend to doubt at times. I mean, how many times have we said, I should have listened to my gut? And we didn't. But when you meditate every day, you won't even question your inner voice. You'll know that it's really guiding you to where you should go. So that was a big catalyst for me in quitting, was just really, tapping into my intuition and doing all the personal development work that I did.
Bring us through when you were diagnosed, when you discovered this brain tumor, and the timing of you are in a career, 17, 18 years you're working there, and then you're diagnosed with the brain. Tell us about the timing of that and the process through that, because that was a big event and which caused a major change in your life. And you were talking about your intuition through all of this, and looking back now, you see the good in that. Tell us about that part.
Yeah, so I was pregnant with my second child, and it was in my last trimester. I started experiencing really severe vertigo, dizziness. I just started getting these dizzy spells. And my OB doctor, thought it was some like vestibular pressure between my ears from the swelling of being pregnant. And he said, it'll probably go away when you have your baby. So I had my baby, and, a month after, it was getting worse. And so I went to my doctor. She sent me to an ENT specialist, ear, nose, throat. And the doctor wanted to send me to physical therapy and thought it was something that could be, a vestibular imbalance that could be corrected. And I told him no. I said, I want an MRI. I said, something's wrong. And that was, I listened to my intuition that time, because I knew wholeheartedly something was wrong, because I know my body. Like everybody knows their body. We've lived with our bodies our entire life. Nobody knows it better than we do. And so after we had this discussion, he decided to order an MRI, and that's when they found my brain tumor. And then that led me on a year-long journey to find the treatment I needed to, really shift my ways of being with my health, what I was eating, If you told me to go eat crickets, I would have eat crickets. Like, I just wanted it to go away. I had a newborn and an 18-month-old at home. I was married. It was scary for me. I went down a dark rabbit hole of, will my kids get to know their mother, ever know their mother? And so, yeah, it was a really challenging time. And, while I started to, seek, because my tumor was 1% of all brain tumors. It was very rare. So not a lot of doctors I'd met with had treated it. So they kind of, to me, they didn't seem very confident in like what to do, even though they probably just shared what they'd done before. But there was new treatment that came out that I was looking at, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I ended up like flying to Stanford University to get opinions up there. And when I found out what I wanted, my insurance company denied it. And then I had to really step in and advocate for myself and appeal. And I ended up winning and getting the treatment I wanted. But, it was an interesting year. And it was, really, and lucky for me that I had a paramedic background, because I had medical knowledge and I talked the lingo and the talk, and that is really helpful. But, I've helped a lot of other people advocate for themselves when they have a diagnosis. And like, you can ask questions, you can ask, don't be afraid of the white coat and the doctor, and you can ask them for what you want.
I love what you said when you said you wanted an MRI. So I just wanted to shine the light on that for a moment, because I think it's really powerful, and it's not something many people do, as you're saying there, because, and then you know the lingo to a certain extent. You've been in this whole world for many, many years. But for the average person, and I'm there wholeheartedly there with you as well, Rachelle, because there's so many people who believe literally, and look, doctors have their place. Yeah. They really do. But they're trained in this area, and to prescribe medications and procedures and all that kind of thing, right? So they're trained in a certain area, and it's not the be all and end all. Yes, there's a time and a place for it, of course there is, but what you're saying, when like vertigo is not, it can be quite serious, and it's not normal for a young woman, vertigo, and it is definitely something worth that would have to be, not just wait and see or whatever, you want to have a diagnosis of some sort. So I love what you're saying, and you really empower people to ask the questions, and you help your clients as well to be empowered in that whole area.
Yeah. I definitely think, there's things that people can do to advocate for themselves. They can, do a little research on their diagnosis, find out statistics, and find out like what is the best method of treatment. Medicine is changing constantly, because there's new procedures and there's new medications and there's, new approaches to different types of diagnoses. So, it's really being up to date on like what is the current stuff, what's the current model, and what are the successes. And, I tell, people who ask me, do a little research and, bring somebody with you to your appointments. It's when you're invested and when you're diagnosed, you're emotionally and, tied to what's going on, which tends to block out information. So
it overrides everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's good to have somebody else there just to listen, to take notes. Maybe they'll think of a question that might be needed to, you might need to ask that you're not thinking about. And it's getting different opinions too. I got several opinions because it was a rare diagnosis and people just hadn't treated it that much in my town where I was living. And so I went around and I really searched for the doctor that I felt was a good fit for me. And my neurosurgeon that I found was incredible. And he's the one that encouraged me to go to Stanford to get more opinions if I, because I had a feeling my insurance company wasn't going to approve it. So, I wanted to collect all that data and get that all before I submitted it. And that really helped me with my appeal. My attorney that helped me told me that he thinks the two things that really helped me get my, the treatment I wanted was that I went to Stanford and I sought out the top experts. And then also I had in there, I knew it was best for my body. And that was best for me. So
Yeah. Oh, what could be more powerful than that? And yeah, and like I'm really there. I hear what you're saying. You were worried, and despite all that worry and concern, and you two young children as well, I'm wondering what they're going to get to be with their mother and grow up with the mother, and all that would be going through your head. And I think it's very powerful. It's a really good point that you made. And bring someone along with you for any appointments or whatever, because you're emotionally attached to what's going on, as you say. Bring
yeah.
us forward a little bit. So what happened after that? So you obviously got through that brain tumor. You got that was removed.
No, it was actually treated with radiation. So
Okay.
it's called CyberKnife radiation, and CyberKnife is a little different than traditional radiation. So traditional radiation will typically treat like the tumor and then the surrounding tissue. But in your head, in your spine, there's certain places you don't want to do surrounding tissue because
Right.
those areas around it are really important. Your spine has nerves, and a
Yeah, you
lot of
spinal nerves. Yeah.
your brain has brain matter and other things in there you don't want to really necessarily touch. So CyberKnife was very specific to just radiate the tumor. So I had that done, and then I got scans like every 6 months for the first couple years, and just to see where the growth was, and it was shrinking. So it shrunk some within the first 5 years, and then after 5 years, it's kind of stayed the same. It hasn't really shrunk, but it hasn't grown. And I'm over my 10-year mark, and at 10 years, at 5 years, if it's not growing, the chances of it growing go down. But at 10 years, if it doesn't grow, then it really goes down. So
Yeah.
statistically,
Yeah.
like, it's probably not going to be a problem. So I've written that chapter off. Like, it was a huge lesson for me and a huge gift, but I'm not really worried about
You're
it
not
anymore.
living that anymore. Yeah.
No, I mean,
Well,
it really was a gift to me, and I look back and think, had I not had that done, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, and all the things that I'm doing, and my personal, mindset and how I think about things would be so different.
tell us about your sister.
Yeah, so I have two sisters. I'm the middle child, so I'm the kind of the black sheep of the family. No.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm the middle child, so I'm kind of like the disruptor and the little rebellious one. But so I had an older sister, Juanita, and my younger sister, Karen. And my older sister was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer when she was 46 years old,
Wow.
and that was a year before I quit my job. So I would take breaks at lunch, go to her chemo appointments, and sit with her, and come back to work. And then in 2018, her cancer really progressed, and she was diagnosed with stage 4, so she was already advanced. They caught it late. And I look back and I think about me quitting my job and how divine timing it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I got to spend the last year, year and a half with my sister. And had I been working, I wouldn't have spent all that time with her. So she fought it for 2.5 years, and she passed away August of 2018. And I became an advocate for colon cancer awareness because her diagnosis was caught late. I think her doctor didn't think it was serious because of her age. And
How old was she at the time?
46 when she was diagnosed.
Mm.
And, the screening now has been dropped to 45, which is great. But we're seeing a lot more cases in people in their 30s and 40s getting colon cancer. So, yeah, so she passed away. And, I'm a musician. You can see all my guitars behind me.
Yeah.
And I wrote a song about her cancer journey the day after she passed away. I was devastated. She was one of my best friends. I just, I knew she was going to pass. It was, at the end
It was inevitable. Yeah.
it got bad. And, they put her into hospice care, and it was just, if you've ever watched somebody go through cancer and just slowly deteriorate, it's the worst thing to ever experience. And so, I was so full of like loss and grief, and I didn't know what to do. And what I do is write, and I just kind of channeled my grief, and it turned into a song, and
Yeah.
my guitar instructor and I played it at her celebration of life. And then I thought I would use that song to help, share with others, to raise some money, maybe to bring, to donate to a colon cancer group here in San Diego. And then during the pandemic, I was trying to figure out how I could carry my sister's legacy, like continue to carry her legacy. And that's when the lyric video that I created for colon cancer awareness was kind of just discovered and found. And I used that to really reach out to colon cancer groups to share her story and colon cancer statistics and facts so that others would watch it, connect to her story, and get screened. And through that, it just really opened up the door for a lot of things.
I love, and I know your story. I spoke to you before, Rachelle, and so just to go back. So your sister, she was did she start advocating herself while she was going through her last stages, and then you continued it then on her behalf. So you continued doing the advocating for her. And you know what, the colon cancer, my dad died of colon cancer, and he had the colostomy bag for his last few years, but he died at 59 years of age. It's only 59, and that was a good few years ago now. But because it was a high risk in the family, all of us, I'm the eldest of my family, we've all been advised to get screened. Now, I did get screened, and it's a simple procedure, and if anything else, it clears you out. It gives you a good clearing out.
Yeah, I know it does. You'll lose
it really does. It really does, but they recommend every 5 years, 5 years or so to get screened. And the bowel cancer is one of the easiest cancers to be treated if caught early. And I think this is the whole point that you're making, for people to go and get screened at an early age, not to wait till you're 60 years of age, because diseases can take a long time to manifest. Like some diseases can take 10 years, and if you catch that early, then you have a higher possibility of being cured. And this is what you're advocating. Tell us the story of how this all exploded. So there you are, you wrote the song, and you played at her celebration of life, your sister's celebration of life. And then you decided to share it with a lot of other charity groups. Tell us what happened from that point.
Yeah, so I created a list. I started a spreadsheet and found as many colon cancer groups as I could find online. And I put them in a spreadsheet. I created a pitch for a cold email. And I just sent these emails out to all these colon cancer groups. And I said, can you please share this? Share this. My sister passed away from colon cancer at the age of 48. I don't want this to happen to anybody else. It's important people are aware of, like you said, the screening is so important. It's 1 out of 3 people over the age of 50 skip their colonoscopies. And I don't know what it is about colonoscopies. Is it because they're going back there and, checking your butt and, like what's up your butt? Like really, they're checking to see what's up your butt. But it's so important. And trust me, the procedure it's so easy because they'll knock you out. And I was completely out. I've had 2 now because I had to get one when my sister was diagnosed. And then I just got my other one after 5 years. And colon cancer, like you said, is one of the most preventable, treatable cancers when it's found early. The problem people don't understand is that it's a slow growing cancer. So a lot of people don't have symptoms and could have it. And so that's why those colonoscopies are so important. So I reached out to these groups and I said, can you just please share my sister's story on your social media, whatever, I don't, anywhere with your cohort, your members or whatever. And, I got emails back, telling me that, the video I created brought them to tears, that it, really connected them. And this is a cold email. They have no idea who I am. And the Colon Cancer Foundation asked me, they wanted to meet with me. They wanted me to get more involved with their foundation. I ended up playing that song at their fundraiser virtual concert with my guitar instructor, Mark, who co-wrote it with me. And I got to share my sister's story on it. And then the Colon Cancer Alliance wanted me to become a spokesperson. I went through some training. There was another group called Never Too Young, which is like, you're never too young enough to get diagnosed with colon cancer, because we are seeing it people that are younger. And so I started to get involved in these colon cancer groups and organizations to help, collaboratively like bring awareness together through our stories. And so it was just really interesting. I had no idea what would happen. I just wanted them to share. I'm like, okay, I'm continuing my sister's legacy by sharing her story so that people can get screened. And if we save one life, then we've done our job, right? We just want to help one person. And, I had several of my friends reach out to me and say, I got screened because of you. And, a couple of them, they found polyps, precancerous polyps that were found, and those are what grow into the cancer. So, when you take those out, and that's preventative. It's all about prevention and awareness. And so, the impact that I had and how it was received when I did this is why I took it to the TEDx stage last year. So last year I did my own TEDx talk on the power of advocating through music, because as we know, music is something that brings people together.
Yeah.
It can move us in ways we can't even describe. It can make us cry. It can make us laugh. It can bring us back to an experience, a place in time.
It's a language, isn't it? It's a universal language.
It's a universal language, yes. And, we go to concerts and we're all united by song, right? We don't care what people's religious or political beliefs are. We just are there collectively for music and song and, passion and joy. And so using music to share my sister's story and then advocate for awareness, just that combination was powerful. And so I took it to the TEDx stage, and now I've created a program to help others do that, because I want others to share so that we can make the biggest impact we can with whatever they're advocating for, to create collective change and inspiration and prevention and awareness, or whatever it might be. Advocacy is not really just around health. It could be around a traumatic experience, or it could be around self-care, or whatever it is that you feel passionate about.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have such awe and admiration for you, Rachelle, because you're really shining the light on something that, that can help people through all these traumatic experiences. And so many people are suppressed and they're not expressed. And it's this suppression that can cause illnesses in the body as well, and cause a lot of suffering. And we're not really living our true lives when we're being that way, when we're suppressed. And I love, so there's two things. So you're helping people to, first of all, you're advocating, for people to go and get screened for the bowel cancer because of what happened in your sister's life. So creating this awareness, because we don't know what we don't know. And if you're shining the light on it and creating awareness and saying, look, get it done early, it's a slow disease. And this is really important. And then through the song, and I've seen one of your clients' testimonials that you kindly sent to me there last week. And so you're writing these songs as well for your clients to help them. And it's beautiful how you do it, Rachelle. You take all their photographs and you just put it into a lovely video, and with all the lyrics written up on the screen, and you're singing there as well. And it's helping that part. And I believe this was the case for you as well. It really helped you and your clients to express how they're feeling, because grief is, oh my God, my own daughter died a full term in 2007, and I get grief. Like, I've had many people die around me, but my father died at 59, and but your own children are supposed to die before you, really, so I was struck by grief, like, for many years. And I love what you say, through song, it can help to express on the lyrics that you've written with your client, and expressing that. It's just so powerful beyond I can even describe, so yeah, the whole music it's a vibrational release that will help you release. So that's just what I love. And now you're helping people to to speak. So you're up to so many different things, Rachelle. You're helping people to speak on the TEDx stage now as well. How's that going for you?
It's good. It's TEDx was kind of virtual for some time with COVID, and so stages have opened back up, so that's great. And we're in a time period right now where a lot of people are advocating for things. Whether it's social issues or their health or I think the pandemic really gave a lot of perspective on things in life, and gave people time to reflect on what they're doing in their life and what's really serving them or not, or, completely pivoting their career or relationships or whatever it might be. So, there's a lot, it's a time, I think, where a lot of people have a lot to say. And, the TEDx stage is a global stage. It's recognized, and it's a great way to get your message out there, to, shed light on your cause, your idea. TEDx is about the idea we're spreading. And, really it's amazing. The things that come from doing a TEDx talk can be awesome. I mean, if it goes viral, you are going to be maybe being offered things to collaborate with people or companies or businesses or things like. I've seen it with one client that was at the company I used to work with. Her TEDx went viral, and she was asked to become the spokesperson for these big health companies, and then really positions you as a thought leader in your niche, in your field. And if you want to speak, you can start charging more to speak if you have TEDx behind your name. And it's a huge accomplishment too. I mean, it's a very I always tell clients it's a committed thing. So you got to be committed to doing it from A to Z, because you get clear with your idea, but then you start applications, and you got to keep applying, and you'll find that right stage that'll find you to be a good fit for them, and vice versa. And then getting ready for the TEDx talk is another huge part of it. You have to prepare your talk, and you've got to memorize it. And so it's a
there's
process.
A lot involved. Yeah, there is.
But it's so worth it. And if anybody's thinking that they couldn't do it because they're not a speaker, we've had people get on the stage for the very first time on a TEDx stage and just crush it. And so don't ever think that, you need to be a speaker to be. Actually, I think people who have less speaking experience are more coachable. And it's so different than different stages. So if you've been speaking on stages, TEDx is just different. And it's a lot of fun, and I think everybody should do it. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah, I've had a few friends who've gone through that experience, and in the last couple of years actually. So I'm like, Joanne, when are you going to do your TEDx? So I'm declaring it here now. I will be doing a TEDx. I don't know when, but I will be doing it. It's on my goal list for the next 12 months. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm really, do you know what, when you talk about the nerves and all the rest, but when your cause is greater than that, it just drives you. It really does, because and I have a message. I'm sharing a message now at the moment. I've done a keynote for Carrie there. Carrie is Children at Risk in Ireland, and it helps to support children and families of children who've been sexually abused. And I've been a case myself, and so I went down and gave them my keynote talk, and I just feel compelled. And I was like, I just told my story from the heart, and it really hit a lot of people. I've had so many people come up and talk to me afterwards, and there was all sorts of representatives there from the county and Ireland and everything there, and it's just when you've caused, like, and when, like you, Rachelle, you've had so many adversities in your life, it's like, what, not another one, and so many different things, but it's there's a learning in everything. There's like, what can I learn from this situation? And when you turn it around that way, I was the meaning of Man's Search for Meaning, that book by Viktor Frankl, that's who it is. I'm going to get that book, but he talks about changing your point of view. Basically, he was in the Holocaust, the camp, the concentration camps, and how he got through all those adversities. And it just goes to show you like where the strength comes from. And when all these adversities happen in your life, and it's not that it's happened to you, that's the victim mentality, but it's, you know, it's understanding all this, and your personal development has helped you along the way. And I just really admire what you're up to, Rachelle. And but it really does, when we change our perspective on things and use what has happened as a driving force for us to spread the message and help other people who are in need, because there's a lot of people who are stuck, they're so suppressed, but when they hear you speak, and you know, they'll say me too, and they'll start to listen, and you know, you can direct them, or I can, or you know, anybody who's speaking about their adversities or whatever. So it is I think, you know, like yourself, I'm compelled, and I'm watching you, Rachelle. I'm watching your journey and I'm learning from you. But we're coming close to the end, Rachelle. Is there anything that you want to add to your story, or any insights or anything that you want to share with people to help them be empowered? Can you leave us with one really empowering message to help people to be empowered, to take responsibility for their lives?
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many things I learned. Yeah. You know, I would say, you know, your voice is probably one of the most powerful tools you have. So how do you want to use your voice to help make change? And, you know, people who are afraid to speak, who, you know, don't feel confident, just start talking about the things you love. That's a good way to just start sharing on social media the things that you love. Like, what do you love to do in the morning or for breakfast? Or, you know, talk about your kids. If you ask, you know, other people.
One just popped into the room. I'm recording the podcast here, sweetheart.
Hi. You know, if you ask,
live out there, Leah.
She's so cute.
The joys of being an entrepreneur, huh?
Yeah, she if you ask people, like, tell me about your kids, they'll talk forever, right? So just start talking about things that you love. And you know, I help a lot of clients to get on connect to podcasts for podcast guest appearances, and that to me, like, is a good place to flush out your message. Like, really just get used to talking and being comfortable with what you're sharing. And it's an intimate setting, you know, on podcasts. It's, you know, you don't have a ton of people staring at you, and it's just really a lot of fun. So
it's a great way. It's a great place to start, actually, for that reason, Rachelle. Yeah, it really is.
And from there it'll grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to start somewhere, and don't wait for it to be perfect. That's what I always tell people. I help people, a lot of people, just to get started, you know. I don't train them out necessarily, just help them to get started, what I did, you know. And it's so great. Rachelle, I want to ask, is it okay? I'm going to edit this video. Is it okay with you if I play your tribute to your sister at the end of this video?
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
I would love that. Thank you so much.
I think it would be great to show people, to give people an idea of the work that you do, and just the power behind it. I mean, it's just so moving. It really is. And you know, how you collect all the pictures and then you do the lyrics and the song that goes with it. It's just so powerful. So yeah, with your permission, I'll play that at the end of this video here as well, so people can take a look and a listen as well. And we put all the links below in the show notes, so your TEDx talk and your sister's tribute video as well. We'll put that in the link below as well. So Rachelle, it's been amazing. The time has flown by. I'm so appreciative of your time, and just want to really acknowledge you for everything that you're doing in the world. And it takes guts, and it takes courage and determination, and you're doing that, and you're living, breathing it, and you really truly do want to make a difference in the world. So I thank you for that, Rachelle.
Thank you. And same to you too. I know you are as well. So I can't wait to see you on the TEDx stage.
yeah, someday soon. Okay, Rachelle. It will, that's for sure. It is going to happen. It's in the book, so it will happen. So Rachelle, listen, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
you get dealt the hand you didn't know. You gear up for the fight, don't let it show. It ain't gonna bring me down, gonna lock it up and shut it down. No time, let's get this treatment on the road. Gonna knock it down and I won't let it show. It won't get the best of me, I'll fight the fight until I'm free. Fueled by faith, God's in control. Unwavered fight, it's in my soul. My road is turned and now I see. My job is done, don't cry for me. Here I am a few years down the road. I keep taking hits, but I won't let it show. Some doubts creeping in me now. I give it to God and settle down. When you get news that things could really end, I still smile for all my family and friends. I know that they'll be okay. I've made my mark, I'm on my way. Fueled by faith, God's in control. Unwavered fight, it's in my soul. My road is turned and now I see. My job is done, don't cry for me. Fueled by faith, and God's in control. Unwavered fight, it's in my soul. My road is turned and now I see. My job is done, don't cry for me. No, don't cry.
I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue pushing these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Take care.